here with Andrew Schiff from the Rhode Island Community Food Bank, and we're talking a little bit about what hunger is and the face of it in Rhode Island. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you being here. So let's talk a little bit about what the Community Food Bank does and just kind of the volume of what you do. So let's start off with that.
Sure. So we're the hub of the charitable food distribution system in the state. We have 160 partner agencies all across the state, food pantries, meal programs. There are shelters that we're supplying food to, and they're directly serving people in need.
So you're really the base of where everything starts. And you really do produce a lot of food. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, last year we distributed over 9 million pounds of food. This year our goal is 10 million pounds of food. The need is really high and the demand for food assistance remains really high. So we want to make sure that folks get food, and we want to make sure that the food that they receive is healthy food.
So let's talk about that. How do you think the need has grown or changed in Rhode Island?
The big change happened around the recession. So before 2007, we were serving about 30,000 people each month, which we all thought was too many people.
It was a ton, yeah.
And then at the height of the recession, we were serving 66,000 people every month.
And that's just a month.
Right, that's just a month. And then it's come down a little bit, but not as much as folks would assume. We're now serving 59,000 people each month. So it's still way higher than it was in 2007.
Yeah, that's a lot. And that's every month, people coming to
Every
you.
month.
And let's talk about what the face of hunger is, because some people think, oh, is it the homeless people on the street? Is it what is the face of hunger?
Well, we're definitely serving what people sort of image is. We're serving people who are homeless. We're serving people who are down and out. But mainly we're serving working families, people who have jobs, but the jobs don't pay enough for them to be able to afford all of life's necessities, to be able to pay the rent, pay the utility bill, pay their medical bills, and still afford food. And so many people start out the month okay, but by the end of the month, they've run through all their money, they've run out of food, and that's when they turn to us for help.
And really making those tough choices of whether to pay your bill or to be able to make the healthy choices. And that's something I think that you guys are really working hard at, is making sure you have healthy options for people. Let's talk a little bit about that.
That's been a big change too over the last 10 years. Now 90% of the food that we distribute is what we call core food, food that a parent can turn into a meal. We want to make sure that the food that we're giving people is not snack food, not soda, healthy food that can be quickly turned into a meal for a family. And that, that's required some changes. One of the big changes is we're bringing in lots and lots of fresh produce. It's basic, potatoes, onions, carrots, but still it's healthy food, and now it's over 2 million pounds a year of fresh produce.
2 million pounds?
Yes. The total distribution is 10 million pounds. So that's a big part of it now.
And when you think about it, a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to donate something, I'll donate a can of beans or, top ramen. And while that's not bad, that's not necessarily your ideal.
Right. So we have a good list. If you go to our website, rifoodbank.org, we have the list of foods that we most need. But canned vegetables, canned soups, pasta, cereal, those are still the most basic foods are the ones we need.
And you've really worked to get those fresh, healthy foods, and you've worked with local producers.
Yeah, we're really lucky. We have growers in Rhode Island who are incredibly generous to us, who donate fresh potatoes, other fresh produce to the food bank. We also have growers across the country that are donating to us for us to be able to bring in now over 2 million pounds. It's really good. It's one of the ways we're making sure that the food is healthy, and also we try to make sure that when we're distributing food at food pantries, we're there to also provide nutrition information. We have a whole staff. It's a program called Community Cooking. Folks are there doing cooking demonstrations, giving recipes, helping people use the food to be able to, because you don't want to give folks food that they're not going to be able to actually prepare at home. And this makes sure that folks do it. We have classes, we have single demonstration workshops. at the food pantries. So it's actually where people are receiving the food, and it's made a very, very big difference.
How so?
Well, people are now being able to cook healthier meals, but also save money. So if you show folks how to cook healthy meals on a tight budget, then they're not spending as much on food. It's really a win-win.
So rather than go out and buy a bag of chips, you can come find how to make stew or how to make a healthy dish like that.
Exactly.
And so can people go and sign up for these classes, or is it first come, first serve? How does that work?
Yeah, so, first our relationship is with our member agencies. So a food pantry will raise their hands and say, we really want you to come out and do that nutrition education. When we come out, people just simply sign up, and then we do these classes. They're very, very well received. We could definitely be doing more.
And if people are interested in becoming one of those teachers, how does that sort of work? Because we have such a culinary city and culinary community that I'm sure people are interested in.
Well, we get students from Johnson and Wales. We get students from other schools who participate and help in our community cooking program. It's part of their training. But the folks who are doing the classes for us are on our staff and have a background in nutrition. They have a background in nutrition education and doing this. And the classes, it's interesting because the classes, although you're showing folks a recipe and you're showing them how to use the food that they're getting, it leads to lots and lots and lots of questions about diet. We're all confused about diet.
What's good,
right?
what's not good. Butter's good, butter's bad, eggs are good, eggs are bad.
Right, well, and that's one of the questions we get all the time. And to be able to have folks who can answer those questions in a way that's grounded, they know the research, they know the health information that's particular also to folks who have health issues, who may be dealing with a chronic illness like diabetes. They can answer those questions and really help people get their health back on track.
And I think that's really important too, because so many people that might not be able to buy the right kinds of food could have health issues. Or, for example, do you have people that are coming to you with dietary restrictions? Or, for example, you said diabetes, because I know in some cases, kids have peanut allergies,
yes.
And so they're not able to have certain things.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's that. There's also senior adults often are told by their doctors to avoid certain types of food, too much salt, for example.
Yeah.
And so the food pantries that deliver the food are very, very conscious of those needs. It's always, with everything that we do, we're conscious of not always having enough food for everyone and the special foods that people need, but we're trying.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the community you serve. Going back to that, a big portion of it is children.
Yes, so a third of the folks we serve are kids. And Rhode Island has a large population of children living in poverty, so that makes sense. We want to make sure that those families who are coming to us are also taking advantage of SNAP, WIC, if they're eligible, that the kids are getting free lunch and free breakfast at school. But even with all that help, families often need more. Kids eat a lot. You want to make sure that you're giving them the healthiest food possible. So that really is a big motivator for us to make sure that the food that we're distributing is high quality, healthy food.
Sure. And has UHIP's failure impacted your demand at all?
Yes. So, it's we know that lots of people have had to turn to food pantries because they're not getting their SNAP benefits. And they haven't been able to, so far, to get into an office, a Department of Human Services office, to get help. They get very frustrated and they calling. Typically, when people need help immediately, they call 211, the United Way. I know that you know 211. And they direct them to a food pantry right in their community. That's the way the referrals work. And, they've seen a big uptick in calls. And, there's just no reason for it. The state has to get it fixed. People who are eligible for benefits need them. And that's one of the ways that we can make sure that we're preventing hunger. You have people on SNAP, you have people on WIC, then they don't have to turn to food pantries for help. It's just not right that people can't get their benefits.
So what would you like to see improve at the community food bank and within the government?
Well, this UHIP problem has to be solved right away. And broadly, I mean, I think that we should, as a state, make sure that we're taking full advantage of the federal nutrition programs, food stamp, SNAP, WIC, school meals, that everybody who's eligible is getting to those programs first, because they're the sort of the hallmark programs to prevent hunger. And then I think that another really important piece is this nutrition education. It's not just done by the food bank. There's SNAP Ed at URI. There are other programs that are providing nutrition education. That's really, really a very, very important piece of the puzzle, because, again, you know, hunger is a health issue. People who are food insecure, who don't have adequate food, are also suffering in terms of their health and their long-term health. So it's prevention, when you're able to make sure people have healthy food, preventing hunger, but you're also preventing health problems in the long run. So I think that's critical too. And then just finally, I think we have to make sure that the safety net provided by the food bank and our member agencies stays strong.
Keeping that solid foundation. So before we go, let's talk a little bit about something fun, because you were saying that really the core of your foundation comes from fundraising, and that's a big part of it because you don't get a lot of government funding. So let's talk about a big fundraiser that you have coming up.
Right. So Truck Stop is this fantastic event. It's going to be this year on Friday, April 28th. Tickets will go on sale after March 6th. It is just so much fun because it's our food trucks, our premier food trucks, and it's a fun, really relaxed atmosphere. We used to have it downtown. We were moving the event to the food bank, our big parking lot, because more people want to come. So it's really, really good for us, and it's just fun. And the food is fantastic. It's part of the Eat Drink RI Festival that weekend. So we're supported by David Dedakian and his staff to make this a really special benefit for the food bank.
And so if people are interested in going to that, it's Friday, April 28th. We have our brought in a flyer right here. So Friday, April 28th from 5:30 to 8:30, and tickets are $75. So what are some of the food trucks that you have coming?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember.
Okay, well.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
That's okay. But a ton of food trucks are coming. So
Yes. We're signing up the last ones right now. This will be a reminder to the food trucks to make sure you're signed up. And we have, one thing I can tell you is that Stop and Shop is on board as the premier sponsor for the event. They've been incredibly generous. And so that, allows us to make sure that when people are coming to the event and they're donating to come in to enjoy the food, every dollar is going to the food bank.
That's great. I do want to ask you quickly before we leave here. You've seen, and something that you sent me is that you've seen donations go down over the past few years. Do you think it's more important, or do you think it's more beneficial, I should say, for people to donate money rather than food? Or what are you looking for when it comes to that?
So money's efficient. We can use the money that folks donate to bring in a lot of food. For $1, we can bring in 3 pounds of food. Food donations also obviously help. The food industry, supermarkets, and the general food industry have just gotten much more efficient. They're still very generous. I just told you that Stop and Shop
they're
is
so generous
sponsoring this event. But the food industry in general, there's a tremendous amount of competition. They have to be more efficient in their operations, which means, in a good way, that they have less waste, they have less surplus food to give to the food bank. And that has meant that we've seen food donations go down, and what we've had to do is use donor dollars to purchase food, to be able to feed everyone who's turning to us for help each month.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
I really
Molly.
appreciate your time and your being here. And
Great to be here.
If you are interested in donating, you can contact the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. And if you want more information on the fundraiser, it's Friday, April 28th, and so we'll have a link on Go Local Proud. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Great to be